Is it possible to put another person into a nursing home? That's the question of this video. And I will note nursing home isn't the technically most accurate term. In Ontario, we have long-term care homes and we have retirement homes, but I'm going with it because it's used so commonly. So can someone just put another person in a nursing home? Is it really that easy? The answer in Ontario, at least, is no. It's not that easy. There are different checks and balances that help make sure that people who are placed in a long-term care facility want to be there or need to be there. So I'm going to break it down into a few pieces. The first thing that has to happen is under the Long-Term Care Homes Act, a person is evaluated to figure out, are they capable of making this decision for themselves? Because if they're capable, they can consent or they can decline to consent. And yes, that means someone can say, I don't want to go, even if it's clearly in my best interest. A capable person who's capable as the law defines it, they can refuse anything being proposed to them as long as they are capable. So someone might say, I know that living at home is dangerous. I could fall. I could break a hip. No one's here to help me. I get all that. I still don't want to go long-term care, and it's an informed decision knowing what long-term care is all about. I've toured homes. I've visited homes. I know what it's about, and I know the risks, and I accept those risks. I appreciate those risks. That is allowed in Ontario. We don't just jam best thing down somebody's throat and say, you have to do it. It's best for you. If somebody's capable, they can decline. So there was an if there, if somebody's capable. What happens if they're not capable? Well, that's where their substitute decision maker would decide for them. And this is certainly where the law gets complicated because there's all this different intersecting law. So it's not actually the Long-Term Care Homes Act that tells us who the decision maker is, but the Healthcare Consent Act. And so I won't go into the detail, but short of it is that we all have a substitute decision maker, whether it's somebody we've appointed under a power of attorney or somebody who is in that role by default. They're a parent, or a child, a spouse. Whoever it is, we all have somebody that is our substitute decision maker. So if a person is evaluated and they are found to lack capacity to make that decision about whether to go to long-term care home, their substitute decision maker would consent. But there's still more layers of checks and balances. A person has to be eligible, and there's a variety of criteria under the Long-Term Care Homes Act. So even somebody who lacks capacity to make their own decisions, let's say a 19-year-old with serious developmental disability, it doesn't mean that they're eligible for long-term care. Even if someone else is making their decisions, that's not enough. So there's an eligibility piece and a capacity assessment that go into it. And then at the end of the day, the person who's the substitute decision maker also does not have to consent. There are rules, principles that apply that govern how substitute decision makers make decisions. The first thing they have to consider is what's known as a prior capable wish. Is this what the person I'm deciding for would want? Did they make any wish? Maybe they put something in writing, maybe they didn't, but exploring what would they want? Did they make a wish when they were over 16 while they were mentally capable? And does it apply to the circumstances? And I'm rhyming off criteria under the law because that can be binding. If there's a prior capable wish, it can bind a substitute decision maker. And if there's no wish, that's when we get into best interest. And again, the law has factors about what does best interest mean. There are actual factors listed in the law that the substitute decision maker would have to evaluate in assessing whether to actually consent, whether they legally feel they can consent to place somebody in a long-term care facility. So it's definitely more nuanced and layered, and there's checks and balances, and it's not as simple as saying, let's ship this person off to a home, and there's no say in it, not at all. And the person who's found incapable also has a right to legally challenge it, I should note. So if they're found incapable, they have a right to legally challenge that and have that a case heard at the tribunal. In theory, that can be appealed all the way up through the court system. So there are many layers to it. So I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next video.